What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Resource Podcast with Daily Refinement and Tech and Sports. Today, we've got a doozy of an episode. We're going to go over what happened to me with my eBay suspension. Tech, how do you want to approach this?
So, I guess to begin with, like a lot that we're going to talk about regarding the issue is complete speculation. I like to speak factually, and when speculating, I like to say speculation. eBay doesn't give details or release anything publicly about what they deem risky behavior and what is not. If they did, it's easy to game the system. So, like, we can guess, we can speculate, we can try to figure out and ask the questions to try to figure out what exactly happened, but like eBay communicated to you that the paperwork or invoices that you provided was not sufficient enough to raise the suspension. So, there's a lot of questions after your last video in the morning call that are pretty easy to clear up. So the first one, they're confused about the NDA. So the NDA was not part of the suspension, correct?
It was not. The NDA was related to the pricing that I had for sneakers. So if you're a high volume seller, you get different prices. I signed an NDA for a different price structure to sell sneakers, but I'm not going to disclose what the fees were, and it's not relevant.
Correct. So the NDA had nothing to do with eBay suspending the account. That was unrelated. But since it was mentioned in your video, people thought that eBay made you sign an NDA regarding the suspension. And that part is not true. It was just strictly regarding the fees. So the second thing that people brought up was, if they asked for invoices, how come you couldn't provide invoices? So the shoes that you purchased was from a celebrity friend. You've been buying from this person for many years. They have a massive shoe collection. eBay wanted essentially line by line invoices from a manufacturer or wholesaler for shoes that are 10 or 15 years old, samples, one-of-ones, prototypes, promos that you got from somebody's personal collection. So we have a similar situation that was brought up on the media call. One of the sellers that's in the group on the media call is one of the largest video game sellers on Amazon, maybe the largest. Amazon was asking him for invoices for Nintendo games from 1989. There are no invoices from Nintendo games from 1989. So that seller potentially now has lost the ability to sell that SKU and maybe potentially the entire Nintendo catalog, depending on how far it goes. So, you're not a fool. Like, you have checks, you have bank receipts, you have things like that. There is a paper trail. However, eBay wants to see line by line where you got these shoes from. So thrift store receipts that say blue tag 25% off do not correlate to an item that eBay wants to know about. Bank statements and checks, receipt books are not good enough to prove where these items came from in eBay's eyes. They want to see line by line paperwork. And that was the potential risk that you took on when you decided to go down this lane. So checkbooks, bank information, those types of invoices may be good enough for the IRS, and for your bookkeeping. But eBay, when they see such a large spike, it raises red flags, and they wanted more information. They wanted a provenance on $1.8 million in shoes sold in 7 months. So garage sale, your thrift store receipts, that doesn't save you from something like this. And it can happen to anybody and everybody at any given notice. So you're not a fool. You have paperwork to back up where you got the items from, but it's not line by line paperwork, SKU for SKU, where these items came from.
Absolutely. And all the paper trail is electronic. I have to file taxes on this, record a cost of goods sold, and a revenue. So all of it is trackable, all paper trail, nothing illegal. I just want to do one more clarification on the NDA. Yesterday, I had a Zoom meeting with eBay directly. They did not restrict me from saying anything. I just want to be clear on that. I asked them, is there anything I need to disclose with you guys or ask about that? Because I have a YouTube channel about eBay. And they said, no, you are free to talk about anything you want about the situation on YouTube. There's no restrictions. You don't need to approve anything through us. There's nothing sealed. The only thing that on that NDA is the sneaker fees, And people, it is public knowledge that people with larger volume have lower fees. So that's not something new. I just wanted to clarify that. And then when it comes to the invoices, I have all the receipts. The IRS is going to look at how much money went into my bank account and how much I spent. So Zelle, checks, all of those, if you have a corresponding invoice to it, those count for the IRS, especially since I have provenance and history of selling items. But for eBay, on a sample shoe, on a prototype, any of these types of items that are given to celebrities, there's not even a shoe box. So there are no invoices, there are no receipts, there is no cost. These aren't on the books. Um, and it's very difficult to acquire any kind of official documentation. And that's what I received in the email. It literally said, once they figured out what it was, that I could not produce the required documentation to remove the suspension because they can't take, like, if I explain what it is, there is no proof. There is no way to produce an invoice on this type of product.
Exactly. And that's the risk. So you knew that going in, took the risk, sped, got caught. We talk about that a lot of times. You could have taken the risk. It could have worked out perfectly. They maybe never said anything, and you're on your merry way with your eBay career. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So, kind of like the last theory that is coming up is that, you're in San Francisco. San Francisco has been in the news for smash and grabs, shoe stores, Gucci, all of that stuff. So if eBay thought these shoes were stolen from stores in San Francisco, this would be a different kind of investigation. You would be in jail. Maybe they potentially did investigate that. Maybe. Your shoes went through authentication. eBay has a record of what was sold and what was sent to the customers. If this was general release or Foot Locker, this is a different conversation. But these were very expensive, rare promo prototype samples, one of one, given to friends, family, and VIPs. So, if these shoes had any potential of being from a smash and grab, stolen, hot merchandise, they all went through authentication. They can dial that back to you and they can figure that out. So, like, until the police bust down your door, like, that's a non-issue because everything went through authentication.
And I'm 100% certain nothing was illegal. So I have nothing to worry about as far as legal ramifications. But I understand when I had the meeting yesterday, they said that this is a very high level decision. And I also got a Zoom meeting. So I want to just say that I believe truly that eBay tried to prevent me from being suspended. If they didn't care, I would have just gotten an email. There wouldn't have been correspondence. From the beginning, there has been a person reviewing my account. It has not been like a automated. Sometimes when people get suspended, the email says from eBay. Mine never said from eBay. It said from this person or that person. So it was real people reviewing it. They definitely gave me the benefit of the doubt. I do not think it is beyond their reach. I am not going to circumvent anything. I understand the ramifications, and it is there is precedence for people actually getting their account back, right? So I'm not going to do anything that might jeopardize that possibility in the future.
Yeah. So, kind of like the last thing, um, you have said that you stopped selling the shoes once eBay started implementing the fees again in the shoe category.
Yep.
So the reason that is because you paid a lot of money for these shoes,
Yep.
very small margin. And when you buy from a collector, you usually have to pay up.
You have to pay
So
up.
the margin was so small that when eBay started implementing the fee again, it became like not a profitable endeavor. So, like, if these shoes were boosted or stolen or hot, who cares about fees? Just keep selling them. But like, since you had to really pay up for these shoes to buy them from a personal collection, the fees alone destroyed the margin because you have to pay that much money to buy these special shoes out of a person's collection.
Absolutely. So, and this also, goes to the NDA conversation. Even though eBay did give me lower fees, still wasn't profitable. I literally stopped January 19th. And I didn't sell very many shoes in January anyway. I actually, the review is for May through November. So didn't sell very many shoes in January, but I stopped when the promo ended because the margins are single digit. It's very, very low. I think I had an average cost of goods at least $900 per pair. So when you buy something for 900 and sell it for 1,000, there's not a lot of room left. This is a very challenging situation that, you know, and I also want to talk about the fact that if I had told you I was doing this, you would have immediately told me not to. So I feel bad that
Absolutely.
I implicated you by association unintentionally, but you would have not let me do this.
No, absolutely. I've probably told you no a million times. So,
Yeah.
account health is everything. It should be everybody's top priority. Even for me, it's always my top priority. We have to assess our risks. Is it risky for me to continue to do this podcast? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm confident that the way that I run my business is the right way to do it. The least risky way possible, slow, steady, consistent. And this podcast has helped, thousands of people make thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's a fact. That's not speculation. We have retired people. We have helped people retire their spouse, helped people turn their businesses around and become very profitable. I know every single day there is a brand, there's a lawyer, there's an intern, a computer program, an algorithm, a representative, somebody somewhere is looking at my store due to the size and the volume. I know that's a fact.
Mhm.
Any kind of spikes or large volume, high ticket sales raise red flags on eBay system. That is not a secret. That is a liability for eBay. Your friend Prince ran into the same issue selling GoPros.
Yeah.
Large volume, expensive sales. So it doesn't matter if it's shoes, if it's GoPros, or if it's bananas. The bottom line, expensive sales are worrisome. They are risky. Expensive sales, and a lot of them are very worrisome. The credit card processor, managed payment, eBay, they can all potentially be left holding the bag if there is a problem. I do large volume, low cost. Chris did high volume, high cost. My liability is spread out amongst 8,000 people a month at $25 each.
Mhm.
It's very unlikely all 8,000 people all file a chargeback tomorrow, all at the same time. It is, however, more likely one customer can file a $10,000 dispute or chargeback, and that is a risk. Chargebacks can be made 180 days after the purchase. 180 days is 6 months. So doing things safely scales, risky fails. Safely scales, risky fails. So could my bell get rung tomorrow? Absolutely. Could my bell get rung even during this podcast? Absolutely. Could yours? Absolutely. Could anybody listening to this? Absolutely. This happens every single day to big sellers, to small sellers. Just so happened, it happened to you, and you have 115,000 subscribers on YouTube, and you're a public figure in the space. But this happens all day. If you raise a flag, eBay wants proof, eBay will ask questions. So what you did, flat out foolish. If we would have discussed it prior, I would have told you it was foolish, too risky. All of our eBay accounts are worth millions of dollars at the end of the day, so we need to treat them with the utmost respect and protection. I tell everyone in the group no all day. I've told Chris and his girl brain no 100 times, to the point where I make a joke in the group that I'm starting a new business. It's called the No Company LLC. You ask me to do something, I tell you no. That's the joke. So when we have people who want to build shoe stores, pre-owned shoe stores, and they ask me, should I sell books? The answer is no. 1999, the No Company, established 2021. So at the end of the day, we all have to run our business how we see fit. I try my best to explain it over and over again. It's up to everybody how they want to do it. I say go slow, relax, calm down, no rush, take your time, chill, no thanks. I'm not set up to do that. But you guys have to make your own decisions. If you don't want to listen to that advice, there are consequences. If you go too fast, you're going to raise flags on eBay. If you go against policy, if you break the rules, there is no sympathy for me. Whether it's Chris, Joe, John, Jeff, George, it doesn't matter. We all know the proper way to do this. And if we don't follow the proper procedures, that's all of our individual decisions. Everybody speeds, not everybody gets caught. I've said that 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. We all have to make those decisions and live with the consequences. Most decisions we make have positive outcomes. Some decisions we make have negative outcomes. That's life. You got to live, you have to learn. And, if one day eBay does decide to ring my bell, I know I did it the right way. I never cheated. I ran my business the right way, and I can live with that. That's the most important part to me at the end of the day. I never cheated. I got to the top and I did it the correct way. So if I go out doing this podcast, helping a lot of people, I'm okay with doing that. So, it's unfortunate, but, Chris understood the risk. He took the risk. Now has to deal with that problem going forward. So the future of the podcast, future of the group, that'll be decided by all of you guys, not us. So like I have my own business, my own personal businesses, my own wife, my own kid, my own drama, my own problems that require 100% of my brain power. My message has remained the same from the first podcast and will remain the same until the last podcast. That message is boring. It's boring. No one wants to listen to that message, but the right thing is always the right thing. Strong foundation, be consistent, go slow, take your time, scale safely, protect your account. It's up to everybody. It's up to all you guys at the end of the day, how you want to implement that advice. So, we have to be safe and you can scale safely. But if you're going to be risky is going to fail every single time, because when you take these risks, these are, momentary risks. A lot of people try to find shortcuts to success and try to find a way how to do things faster. In the grand scheme of all of this, I have been on eBay for 13 years. 10 years into it, I was doing $1 million. You don't have 10 years to span to build your business slowly, the proper way, and scale it to get to $1 million. You don't have 10 years to spare. We're all going to live to be 100 years old. 10 years is a very small portion. 13 years in, I'm doing $2 million. If you do it the correct way, it scales unbelievably fast. But the correct way is slow. No one wants to do it slow. We all want immediate gratification and we all want to do things quickly. So we all have to have like enough inside of us to where it's the end of the night at the club and there's one hot chick left. Sometimes you have to go home alone. And we can't give in to the temptation of the hot chick. It's okay to go alone sometimes. And if you go alone, you handle your business, you keep running your business in a responsible manner, everything will be fine. Up until now, it's been fine. When you take the risk, when you do risky stuff, when you raise red flags, eBay is going to ask questions. And if you don't have the answer to the questions, you have problems. And I said it a couple of weeks ago on the podcast or on our group call that, if Chris can't produce these invoices, that I don't think the account's coming back. They want line by line invoices. Garage sale, thrift store, flea market, that isn't going to save you from this. It's going to save nobody. So if North Face reaches out for invoices, if eBay reaches out for invoices because you've been selling a lot of North Face, they want line by line receipts. They don't care that you got it from a thrift or a garage sale. You're not authorized. And eBay can ban us for any and every reason with no notice. So we have to protect our accounts. We have to do it the correct way. And if you don't do it the correct way, there is no sympathy. There's none. So I beg of everybody, please grow slow, take your time, relax. Always ask yourself the question, is this worth my account? And if the answer is no, then don't do it.
And it's never worth it.
It's never worth it, man. Mm-hmm. Even if you sell $20,000 a year, which most people listening to this podcast do, over the span of time, your account is worth $1 million.
Easily.
So please, Chris has taken a lot of risk, a lot of chances on his YouTube channel, running all of these experiments, trying to teach us a bunch of lessons. Unfortunately, this is the ultimate lesson that Chris will teach us, is that have a solid foundation, grow slow, and don't take these kinds of risks.
There's a lot in there. I mean, the writing was on the wall. It's not like I didn't get any official warnings and I did not get any policy violations. But they did hold my payments, and they don't do that unless you have unusual activity. So they never slowed down my account. They actually increased my account limits. They didn't reduce my account limits. But if when you are under investigation, like when you start doing volume, they will not reach out to you and tell you, but they look at everything with a fine tooth comb. So it's important to understand it's easy to take shortcuts. Everyone, there's something that you'll see at the flea market or thrift store. Opportunities will pop up, and it's okay to say no, and it's okay to be small. And I was just thinking before I got suspended, um, I was talking to you about how the most important thing that you can maintain is your reputation. You can fix any problem if you have a good reputation.
Yep.
Any problem. You can be small, perfect reputation. You can grow to any size.
Yep. And reputation is key. I mean, you're gonna die Chris Lynn, and you were born Chris Lynn. There is no escaping that. And your reputation is everything. And reputation can be damaged in 1 second and take a lifetime to repair. So, like you said, hindsight is 2020. Them holding your funds after you made those big sales was them making sure you were going to deliver those shoes. At the time, in the moment, you say, okay, they're just making sure that the buyer gets these shoes. No problem. But looking at it in hindsight, now you know exactly why they were doing that. They were doing that because they needed to investigate exactly what was going on.
Also, it's important to point out that Benjamin brought up that even though the behavior stopped in January, but essentially it stopped in November, they can retroactively suspend. So people who think I'll just list the counterfeit below market, it'll sell quickly and it'll go unnoticed. That's not the case. They can go
Yeah,
back and retroactively end items. They can ding you after the fact.
absolutely. And it's all risk assessment. So, like, someone in the chat said that this can even happen on your own website. Ultimately, it's the payment processor. And even for me, at my brick and mortar store, we use Square. If we have too many refunds or too many chargebacks, potentially Square can cancel us and we would have to find a different credit card processor. So, like, all of these companies have risk assessment. They have an allocated amount that they're okay floating on a risk. For whatever reason, and eBay will never disclose this, for whatever reason, you surpass that allocation and you were asked to provide invoices and you cannot. And a lot of people who do this business will not be able to provide invoices if their number gets called. It could be randomly, it could be because there's an unusual spike in activity, it could be because of large sale, large volume. And if you shop at the thrift, your Goodwill receipt that says orange tag 10% off, that ain't going to cut it. So, like, sadly, this happens every single day. But as an overall risk, that's the ultimate risk to this business is that we have no license. We have no authority to sell these brands. People like to say first sale doctrine. People like to do this and that. None of us are authorized resellers or authorized dealers of these brands. Ultimately, the liability in this entire business, in this entire niche, relies on our paperwork. Do you have paperwork to back up where you got the items from? Is where you got the items from a reliable, genuine, reputable source? The chain of command goes on and on until they can figure out that how and why you have these items and why you are selling them on the platform. And if you cannot produce that documentation, your thrift store receipts, your garage sale notebook that you keep in the car, it's not going to do it for you. So, like, this is all an inherent risk. There's risk with everything. So you just have to do it as best as you can, as safe as you can. And maybe when your time is up, hopefully you did enough and you got enough. And you rode the ride and the journey was nice.
I also want to point out, I do feel like I didn't get special restriction or special treatment as far as like what happened, but they did review this manually. So I just want to point out that eBay does care about their sellers. I don't agree with any negative talk about eBay. It has nothing to do with them. This is from my own behavior. So eBay gives people the opportunity to make money with no reputation. You can list an item with zero feedback and they let you do it. So
Absolutely. And
that's very odd. Yeah.
absolutely. And the alternative to that is eBay called me and gave me special treatment because who I am. That's a different platform. As
Yeah.
long as eBay is fair across the board to everybody, that's all we can all ask. We can all ask for, clear cut, black and white. This is what we want you to do. This is what we don't want you to do. And for someone to get special treatment, eBay needs to be fair to everybody and just for everybody for the safety of the marketplace. And the safety of the marketplace affects all of us equally. So we have to hold up on our end of the deal. We have to describe our items accurately. We have to deliver on time. And we have to provide a safe marketplace. eBay also has to provide a safe marketplace. They have shareholders, they have, you know, chairman of the board. They have a lot of people that they have to report to and make sure that they're not over leveraging their risk. And if they are, they need to nip it and they need to move on. They've suspended accounts much larger than yours. They suspended PWCC, which
Yep.
was the largest baseball card seller. eBay is not above anything. No
Nope.
one gets special treatment, and you have to respect them for not giving special treatment. If you speed, if you get caught, there are consequences, flat out.
So I have to address the fact, is it possible for me to get my account back? I would say unlikely, but it is possible. And that's why I have no intention of circumventing the fees and getting a different account using a family member social. I don't want to do that. Also, those of you thinking about doing that, I would recommend not doing that because you're implicating other people. It's somebody else's social security number. It's complicated. They have very sophisticated tracking software. Could you do it and not get caught? Probably, but one day your bell will be rang.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I'm not a fan of it.
And like your track record, you've funneled tens of millions of dollars to eBay through your YouTube videos. You've helped a lot of new people start on eBay. Um, all the comments have been, very, very positive. Maybe one day eBay will take another look at this. Maybe they will overturn this. And if you want like any hope of that happening, you can't be out there selling under any account. Just stay the course, do the crime, do the time, and hopefully eBay will reconsider one day. They watch the videos, they listen to stuff, they read the comments, and you know, did you do anything wrong? Technically, no. Was it too risky for eBay? Obviously, yes. Like these were not stolen; they were obtained legally. They were obtained from a celebrity friend of yours who you've been buying
Mm-hmm.
from and you've known for a long time.
Yep.
Technically, nothing wrong, nothing against the law. You are shouldering a lot of this blame, but like this could happen to all of us on any day. It happens all day. It just so happens you have a large audience. And if this happens to someone who's not on YouTube, they just go away. Their store is gone. No one's checking their store daily. They don't owe anyone an explanation. But as you having this channel and a public figure in this space, people do check your store. People ask questions. And, ultimately, that's your responsibility to answer them in the position that you've put yourself in. So, like, could you be back on eBay in some sort of capacity? It's possible. Maybe they reconsider. Maybe they read the comments. Maybe they see the support. I know a lot of people have you to thank for being on eBay. So, I think that you've done a great service for them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, one wrong decision can jeopardize, our entire business and our entire livelihood at the end of the day. So um, we have to make sure that we're making those smart decisions and not jeopardizing them.
So eBay did not disclose in any policy violation. It actually says in the email, I might have violated eBay policy. They didn't disclose what policy, any rule that I violated. But I will tell you that there's been, and this is speculation, people have talked about, is it mainly the volume? That seems to be generally the consensus. I will tell you that yesterday, one of the people on the call with me from eBay was from the managed payments team. So, and also the suspension emails came from managed payments and the Vero team. So I imagine that is related. Maybe it's the same team. I agree with Jake in the chat that restoring an account because of social media pressure is wrong. I'm not asking for special treatment.
No,
I
no,
don't want people to make a petition. I think I'm
no,
against that.
no. That's they made their decision.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's not their decision. They have a better use of their time than to sift through thousands of people trying to, reinstate the account. That's water under the bridge. It's done. So like something that is also very interesting is that they didn't have a problem with the pre-owned clothing business. So I know you did like hundreds of thousands of dollars pre-owned mall brand clothing, and they did not have a problem with that and never had an issue with it.
People are asking what the implications are for other sellers. So I cannot own or manage an eBay store. That is the what I think that's what it entails. So as an example, I can't open a new account. The current accounts that I have don't work anymore. And if I get somebody else's social security number, new IP address, all that stuff, and I'm managing their store, that's essentially still me. So me selling items to people or me talking about a store on YouTube is not the same thing. That's not me in the store managing it or creating things or running the store. That's very different. So they told me there is no one else implicated, just me. So um, I'm not about to where and there is we need to just squash the starting your own platform thing. That does not I mean, I wish I made $100 million on this and I could start that concept, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It's
that's like a
impossible.
several billion-dollar endeavor, but like, you'll figure out what the next step is. You'll figure out the pivot. eBay isn't the end all be all for hopefully most folks, and ultimately at the end of the day, you'll get your bearings straight. It might take a little bit of time, and you'll figure it out. Maybe you go to another platform, maybe you pivot to wholesale, maybe you do something else. I'm not sure, but you know I just want to just continue harping on that. Like we all have to be careful and be safe. And like now the next discussion is, if I sell this, is this okay?
Yeah,
Is this brand okay? Should I be worried about doing this? Is this risky? Like there is no answer for that. eBay is the only one that holds the answer to those questions. Whatever they deem on your account is risky, that's what they deem. There is no there is no question, there is no answer for, if I sell this brand this many times, and am I in trouble? They had no problems with your pre-owned clothing store. That's, in my opinion, pretty low risk. Is laptops higher risk? Absolutely. PlayStations, video games, things like that, more high risk than everyday value pre-owned clothing. I think those categories are more high risk. And, any category that has a lot of zeros, a lot of IP claims, things like that, those categories are much more high risk. So your lifetime maybe selling, MacBooks might be shorter than someone who is in a much more, low tolerant um, eBay category. We have people in the group that sell certain things based on pop culture, but like unless you have the express written consent, that's a risk. And unless any of us have express written consent, ultimately that is a risk.
absolutely. Scott says that he sells junk, no risk. There's a risk tolerance for every single account. Every account has a number. For some accounts, $1 million a month is not unusual behavior. So it takes time. When you grow slow, you slowly compound. They understand how fast you can grow. That's why eBay has limits as well. There's a reason you only get 10 listings when you first start. So everything is put in place by them to give sellers the opportunity to be successful. That's what seller metrics are for. So when you are punching above your pay grade, they know that because, we talk about account health, but if you start growing and your shipments start becoming a little bit late, you start to not describe defects as well. All that stuff adds up and eventually will catch you. So, we've been talking about this before this happened to me, and I have not sold shoes since January 19th. So it's been a long time. But I'm just starting to recognize it's not just today that I started listening to you. It's just taken a long time to settle in. The way that you do it, sometimes remaining at the same level of eBay for an entire year before growing,
Yeah.
that's not something most people will do. If you're starting to get success, what person would say, you know what? I'm successful now, so I'm going to take the rest of the year making sure I'm successful before growing again. That's not, you never hear that.
Yeah. And people look at me crazy when I say I've been at 250 listings a day going on 3 years. Like 3 years, I've been at 250 listings every single day. You got to take your time. You got to chill. You got to be slow.
Mm-hmm.
And, it keeps coming up in the chat. People are, speculating, a celebrity could have bought fake shoes, but your shoes pass through authentication. They
Yeah.
know what you sold. They authenticated them. The
Mm-hmm.
customer received them. These were all passed through authentication.
Yeah. There's no issue there. Well, I will bring up this. This is, in my opinion, not related, but two shoes that went through the sneaker authentication program. One I sold new without box, and I packaged the item in poly mailers, bubble wrapped it, put it in a box, sent it to the customer. In the description, I put comes with a replacement box. When I hit the eBay authentication service, they said inauthentic because does not have original box. And that was my fault for not including a replacement box, but that was not related to the authenticity of the item. Also, I sent a person a $2,000 pair of shoes, the Mark Smiths that I had on my Instagram, and I sent the wrong size. I had two pairs, one size 12, one size 11. Sent the person the wrong size. It passed authentication and went to the customer. So the customer got the wrong size and said, "How can this possibly um, pass authentication? It's not even the right size." So eBay ended up not, they did not want me to take the item back. They ended up refunding the customer and letting me keep the money. So I feel like that's not, I don't think that that is related, but I had two transactions not go through that program. But again, this is one of those situations where everything does matter. I do want to address High saying, is Tech and Sports concerned about being affiliated with Daily Refinement? I mean, I think you are concerned and you should be because this is, everything is associated.
I'm not, because I know I'm doing things the right way.
Mm,
And they may have been looking at your account for 6 months. No one knows.
yeah.
They may have been looking at my account for 6 months. Nobody knows. And
Mm,
like, if I'm doing things the right way, I have nothing to worry about. And if by talking to you, trying to help other people build their stores and make their lives better and make more money, that's a risk that I'm willing to take. But I know I'm doing everything correctly. I know I'm growing slow. I know that I don't pose a risk. And this could happen to anybody at any given time. So like, it really, it doesn't matter if we talk or if we never talk. I know every single day some brand, some business, some lawyer, some accountant, some intern, somebody somewhere is looking at my store. I know that. I know every single day someone is looking at my store, trying to find a reason. If they can find a reason, then I have a problem. If they can't find a reason, then I'm going to be good for as long as I'm going to be good for. But, the way that I believe to do it is by growing slow, selling low risk items. That's the safest way that I've found to do it. And there's not a lot of people that get in trouble scaling slow, selling everyday mall brand, everyday value clothing. There's not a lot of people. I have no Veros. My account's never been suspended or banned. I never received communication from eBay that I have an issue. And I think that growing slow, being consistent, I ship 7 days a week. So, like, the customer orders something, we ship it. There is no discrepancy in any of this. The customers order their item, they get their item. My item not received cases are 0.03. 75% of those have actually been delivered. The customer just don't have the item. The other 25% of 0.03, the item is on the way. My return rate is 1.45. I have 60-day free returns. I'm doing everything that I feel that eBay wants to do. And at a high level on eBay, of course they're going to look at you more. But like if I was doing shady stuff at my level, I've listed over 300,000 items. I would have been gone a long time ago, because you don't list 300,000 items on the platform by accident.
You also don't get, so Eden is asking, Tech and Sports is doing it the right way, but what is wrong with growing fast? There's like everything is wrong with growing fast because there are no issues when you grow slow.
Yeah,
All issues in life come from people looking for a shortcut. There
absolutely.
if you take the long way, there are no issues in the long way. The shortcut through the bushes, that's where everyone gets thorns. That's where everyone gets trapped and screwed up. Is there's already a path to success on eBay. We go over this um, constantly on the channel. If you essentially make a profit that pays for you to replenish the item and buy one more item,
Yeah,
that there is that's the slow way. When
yeah.
people are thinking about selling things faster than the market can yield, or selling high dollar amounts, or a deal that's too good to be true, it's always too good to be true.
Right. And someone says no one gets in business to grow slow, so why should sellers get scared to grow fast? This is the thing.
Yeah.
I aim as a business practice to be 30% up year over year. If 30% up year over year is too slow for you, then you will be banned eventually. Like 30% year over year is massive. It's massive. And my 30% year over year at this point now is hundreds of thousands of dollars year over year. When I was a small time seller, 30% was, a little bit of money year over year, but the compounding effect on eBay of buying an item, selling it, buying two more, selling those two, buying four, selling those four, buying eight, selling those eight. So like my goal every single year is 30% up year over year. That's my goal. That's my goal. 30% year over year. If I'm up 100%, that's crazy. If I'm up 200%, that's crazy. But like 30% year over year, slow, steady, no defects, no Veros, no brands coming after you, shipping everything. I have 0% late shipments. Everything is shipped on time. There's no problems. If you do that slow, you will have no problems, because you can't go from selling 10 items to shipping out 300 every single day. You can't do it, because you're going to screw up. You're going to have defects. You're going to fall below standard. You're going to have cases closed without seller resolution. And when those things start stacking up, those are the red flags. So you have red flags for going too fast. You have red flags for cases closed without seller resolution. You have red flags for returns. You have red flags for chargeback. If enough of those things get raised, eBay has to look at it. If they look at it and they want to get more information from you, then you go down the path Chris went down. And if you can't provide the information, no matter what it is, you're out of there. It's done. It's over. So if you have no defects, no cases closed without seller resolution, 100% on time shipping, 100% tracking uploaded, under 2% return rate in a clothing category where most items are returned for wrong size, doesn't fit, all of your items show up, you ship 7 days a week, and you spread out your risk over 8,000 customers every single month at $25 a pop, there is a very, very low risk. But if you are spiking, if you're not consistent, if you're doing things that are unpredictable, that's when eBay gets scared. If you are doing predictable things, eBay is good. In my opinion, eBay is good. eBay knows tomorrow at 9:14 a.m. that I will start doing my listings for the day. And eBay knows tomorrow I will list 250 items. eBay knows tomorrow I will ship 300 items. They know this. It's predictable. Even if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, we're still going to list 250 and we're still going to ship 300. It is predictable. There is nothing unpredictable about this. And if you want to be unpredictable, expect unpredictable results. If you want to be predictable, you have nothing to worry about. I've been on the platform going on 14 years, predictable at the highest level in the category. And eBay has never called me one way or the other. They're letting me be and do my thing. Could they listen to this and investigate and ask for a bunch of paperwork that I need to supply? Absolutely. But if that happens, it happens.
So there is a couple of questions in the chat. One is, what if you have a social media following or you have a spike in sales? Is that going to trigger a problem? Usually not, because let's say you have 1,000 items in your store and one day you sell 100 and other days you only sell 10. If you're listing the same number of items, those fluctuations are considered, I think they're considered normal. It's when you start listing an abnormal amount of items, or you, that's really where it comes from. Like you're listing 10 items a day, then you suddenly go to 100 items a day. That's what happens to drop shippers. So Hi McDonough is asking, why don't I just get confirmation from my sources? I do. I have the bank transfers. I submitted that. They're not line by line invoices from Nike is the problem. The and this is not coming up in the chat, but I wonder if this is why when you see samples, it usually says on them, not for resale. Usually. I wonder if the reason it says not for resale is there's no receipt. Like I don't know if that's the reason why it says not for resale on a sample, but it makes sense because if you sell a high number of samples, that those are probably supposed to be destroyed by the factory. Those are just for sample use to maybe verify a style, or some of the shoes that I sold were not high profile. Like as an example, I sold a pair of Yankee trainers that was given to the team, not for like a special event or anything, but just for warm up. So how is eBay or Nike supposed to verify where these shoes came from? It totally makes sense what happened. So
and that's the thing, is like samples, if they say not for resale,
yeah,
if you list that, you are taking the risk.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if it's a polo sample, if it's an Adidas sample, if it says not for resale, you are taking the risk. And if you knowingly take a picture of that item, of the sample, and knowingly list it on eBay,
yep,
if the brand comes after you and virals you, or if you get in trouble, there has to be no sympathy, because it tells you right on there, not for resale. If you choose to do it, you are taking that risk. But you can easily choose not to.
No, that is, yeah. If you have hundreds of samples, something has gone wrong. Somebody's saying in the chat. That actually makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. Why do you have hundreds of samples? Remember, I got a lot of chubbies and I posted it on my Instagram. The CEO DM'd me and said, "Where did you get these?" So I mean, I got them at the flea market, and it like he literally DM'd me and said, "I just need to know where the leak is. These are not supposed to go out to the public." I thought that was kind of like unbelievable, but that's essentially what it is. It's unauthorized. The brand didn't account for that. That is really interesting, looking at the sample market, because this is something that is black and white. You cannot sell them. It says right on it, not for sale.
Absolutely. So, whenever you have a large amount of stuff,
Yeah,
it's perfectly fine for someone to ask you where you got them from.
absolutely.
So if you have a large amount of chubbies, it's perfectly logical that they reach out to you and say, where did you get these from?
That's right.
And if you don't have the answer,
Yep,
then you shouldn't have made that buy. You shouldn't have put them for sale.
yep.
Because the ultimate answer to why do you have a large amount of chubbies is Oh, no problem. I bought them from a wholesaler. I bought them direct. Here are my invoices.
Yep.
That's how you have a large amount of that item.
That's right.
And if you don't have invoices for your large amount of that item,
Yep.
then that's it.
Yep. No, there are absolutely sample sales everywhere, but most of them say not for resale on them.
Sure.
I see that here. Levi's is here. They sell tons of sample Levi's. It's stamped on the inside of the pants, not for resale.
Sure. And
So,
if you buy them and choose to list them, that's on you.
yeah.
That's on anyone who chooses to do it. You don't have to buy a sample and you don't have to list it. You don't. There is no obligation to list every single item that you find. There's no obligation. Our obligation is to do things safely, do things, by the books, by the rules. And if you don't want to fulfill that obligation, a lot of people have every right in the world to ask you the questions. And if you can't answer the questions, those are the consequences, flat out.
Yep.
I get presented with stuff all day and I say no thanks.
Yep.
Because that's not the business that I'm set up for.
Yep.
At this point in my life, I accept zero liability.
That's right.
Zero. Because when you're a kid, sometimes you have to take risk as a kid. But like at a certain point, you have to eliminate all liability. All liability is eliminated from my circle to the point of I have different layers in order to get to me. In order to get to me, you have to go through my wife. In order to get to my wife, you have to go through a supervisor at one of the businesses. In order to go through the supervisor, you have to go through one of the workers. In order to go through the worker, you have to do something else. It's like I have different layers of protection to protect me and my mental because I need to focus. If people steal my time, I can't focus and get the job done. So like we all have to take measures to protect ourselves. If it's too risky, leave it alone. Like leave it alone. There's plenty more profitable items out there that are safer to sell.
Well, this is Donna saying no one will ask you why you have so much Morona. I want to counter this because one of the most common Vero items on eBay is actually Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein's not a high-end brand, but they would 100% ask you, where did you get all this Calvin Klein? They know they have very strict relationships with Macy's. I mean, the brand is massive. They know where everything is. If you have unauthorized copies of Calvin Klein, they will find you. And this is a lower end brand. So there's no brand that is safe from this. And I agree with sell resell. None of the shoes I had say not for resale on them. None of them said that. I'm just saying that is common. I do see that on a lot of sample items.
Yeah, and there is no end all be all one way to eliminate all the risk.
Yeah.
There is none. Every business just walking out of the door is going to come with risk. So, you just have to decrease your risks as much as possible. And a great way to do that is to stay informed on the rules, stay informed on the policies. Today, eBay released the Spring Seller Update 2022. How many of us have read that? Probably not many. I've already read it. I'm up to date. I know what's happening with the platform. I know the rules. I follow the rules. When it comes to, brands and Veros and protection, you have to keep your ear to the streets. You have to be plugged into Instagram, to YouTube, to the Facebook groups, maybe go on Reddit, maybe do Google searches about Veros and see who is complaining about getting a Vero for what brands. And if those brands are very protective, then you cannot sell them. You should eliminate their entire SKU from your catalog. So a lot of people get jammed up when they first start selling on eBay and they pick up the Beachbody or the Rosetta Stone or things like that. They are very, very, very aggressive. Mm-hmm. And if you know not to pick up Beachbody, not to pick up Rosetta Stone or some of these MLM brands that are very protective and take down every single item, you have educated yourself and you have countered that risk. If someone posts, hey, I got a Vero for this brand. Recently, it was Grunt Style. A lot of people got hit for Grunt Style this week. Tons. But people got hit last year for grunt style. So if you were paying attention, you know last year people got hit for grunt style. You cannot sell it. So be careful. A lot of the brands that are just starting out are very protective because they're small. They need all the sales. A lot of the small brands, things like that, they're more protective. So if you hear through the grapevine that this company is very protective, I would eliminate it. If I had Grunt Style in my store, which I don't sell that brand, if I had Grunt Style in my store and I saw the post, I would remove those items and I would eliminate it from my store. Bottom line, flat out. But I tell you guys a lot of times, I sell the same 20 brands over and over and over again. Why? Because those brands I have deemed safe. I have not seen anybody complain about a Vero from XYZ brand. If and when that does happen, I will eliminate the brand because it is not worth selling a risky brand on your account because your account is worth millions of dollars over the lifetime of your account. You can't get suspended. Suspended is lost sales. You can't get, questioned on a bunch of stuff. Sell very, very, very safe brands. And when you do hear something, you need to eliminate that from your brand list, from your Rolodex, and you need to stop selling that brand. If you hear Calvin Klein gets people, eliminate it. If you hear,
Yep.
White House Black Market, they're very aggressive on brand new, eliminate it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using stock photos, eliminate it today. Like, we can't do things that are risky and against policy. You will not have long-term success in anything if you do risky things that are against policy.
JT's Funky Fine says he does not sell clothes because of all the Veros. I think clothing and shoes are the most counterfeited items on any platform. So it makes sense because
Sure, there's nothing wrong with that.
it's not easy to sell clothing. You have to know you have to be able to navigate it. There's a lot of Vero brands in the clothing category, hundreds probably.
Absolutely.
That are
and
hundreds of strict rather.
absolutely. And that is a great philosophy and a great business model. If you are uncomfortable, move to another niche, move to a different category that is more low risk. Like, there's probably not a lot of Veros in glassware. You know what I mean? Like, no one is forced to sell in a certain category, sell a certain item. So, it's not like, a lot of people are confused. Like, why is Chris apologizing for this? Like the spike in activity was unusual and got you questioned for having a spike in activity.
Mm-hmm.
That is dangerous, regardless of brand. If you had a spike in activity of video games, they would ask you where you got those from.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a spike in activity in anything, it doesn't matter if it's bananas or tiddlywinks. If there is a humongous spike, we're talking millions of dollars in 7 months. Somebody somewhere is going to go, let's take a closer look at this. You bought legitimate shoes, you sold legitimate shoes. However, it was too much, too fast, with no real history, no sales velocity or volume on that category. It raised a flag. They investigated it. The investigation was failed. So hindsight 2020, let's not make the purchase and let's continue what I have history in, what I have velocity in, and that's pre-owned everyday value mall brands. That's the right decision, 2020 hindsight.
That is very interesting that when you look at more thrifts, like if you look at thrift stores, most of the stuff in the thrift store, like 99% of it is not in a brand that has high Vero, but it's just your responsibility to figure it out, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And, like the only debate is flying too fast and flying too high. That's the debate. All the other stuff is noise. It's flying too fast, selling too many items in a very short amount of time is very high risk, and a lot of high dollar items. That's ultimately the bottom line, and that's ultimately the message and the takeaway that everybody should receive. And every single thing that I've ever said since the very first podcast, and you can go back to the first one, is take it easy. Everyone needs to go slow. Everyone needs to be patient. Everyone needs to be safe. That is the ultimate message since the first podcast. And people say we talk about the same thing every week. We do. It's go slow, chill. Going slow on eBay is going tremendously fast because you get to buy one item, sell it and buy two more. Sell those two and buy four. It's ultimately fast if you do it the right way. And if you don't have a couple years to spare and do it the right way, then you yourself are at risk of raising a flag and potentially getting in trouble. So,
right.
you know, I can only say it a million times. Most people don't listen. And that's unfortunate.
So people are asking about Goodwill selling counterfeits. That's another reason. I mean, this may not be the reason, but their receipts say green tag, yellow tag, red tag. They're not authorized resellers of any of the brands.
Right.
They're doing the best they can, but they will get in trouble too. Go ahead.
Potentially they could, but
Yeah.
like until this is like Chris Bay, eBay makes the rules. Goodwill makes the rules for their own store. Like if you had Chris Bay, you make the rules for your platform. eBay has the rules, right or wrong. We have to abide by those rules. My local flea market got sued by Louis Vuitton for $35 million because they were selling counterfeits.
Mm-hmm.
Like these brands don't play, these platforms don't play. And we're on the platforms, we play by their rules. If we want to play by our own rules, then we need to make our own platforms. But until then, eBay has rules, they have regulations, and they have every right in the world to revoke any of our selling privileges for any reason at all. Even if they don't like the way your listings look, they have the right to revoke your selling privileges for any reason at all. So keep that in mind. Any reason at all, they have the right.
Yeah, absolutely. You take on the risk and you see, there's a big difference between selling counterfeits and what I was doing. There was no policy violations, but my understanding, managed payments and Vero is the team that suspended me. So somewhere in that realm is what happened, and I took the risk. So another reason why I haven't been apologizing is I'm supposed to be the standard for everybody to follow. So it's even dumber. Like think about how many people you affect.
Absolutely.
I affect hundreds of thousands of people. I should have I should be the most risk averse person, but I'm not.
Absolutely. I agree with that
It's
1,000%,
my
man.
responsibility, especially now that I know, like I shouldn't be jaywalking at this point. There's so many people
Nope.
involved. So
Nope. Absolutely, man. Like, especially as a public figure, like your actions have a ripple effect. So like you have to fly clean, you have to be smooth. And that's another layer to all of this is that this happens every day to a lot of people. They just don't have 100,000 people watching their store and watching everything that they do. So like that is one aspect of it. And unfortunately, you have access to every single time I've said no, and unfortunately still chose to make the ultimate decision that ended up costing the entire eBay account. And that is truly unfortunate.
Yeah, the responses yesterday were pretty insane. There were 2,000 comments on my YouTube video, which you guys should watch and read through those comments because this is not uncommon. It's extremely common. The shoe category is full of this, electronics category is full of this, handbags, collectibles. You have to have proof. When you're trying to fly high, people are always checking you. So it, it's different. This is different. So when you don't have proof and they can't verify what you're doing, they don't want to assume the risk. So it absolutely makes sense. That's
Yeah.
that's another reason why I'm apologizing.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. And they
Yeah,
have every right in the world to do it.
yeah.
Every right in the world to do it, man. And that's why, like, it's not sympathetic. Like, eBay
Nope,
has
it's not
every
sympathetic.
single right in the world to protect their account. They have every single right to do it. And as much as we talk about going slow, you know, you could have did it and got through fine and everything happened and eBay was okay with it. And, they actually enjoyed you selling all of these items. Beautiful. That was a potential outcome to this. But unfortunately, the outcome was the alternative and that eBay was not okay with this. So, like, my my tone is going to always be the same. Like, we have to be safe, we have to chill, we have to relax, we got to do things the proper way. And if you don't, there are consequences. If you are totally naive and you don't know, you could be sympathetic to that. If you do know, it's hard to be sympathetic.
Yeah, it's they posted the speed limit. You know when you're speeding. I knew the entire time I was speeding. There was not a it's not like I went from one listing a day to two listings a day. It was like a 300% increase.
Sure.
So I mean, and it's not even like they didn't even. I mean, it's a lot of volume. It's not like I did it once or twice. So they were looking at it. I don't think Nike was involved. It might be, but from what I saw in the comment section, every single brand, every single category, the main thing that was similar was high volume, unexpected high volume.
Yeah.
All of them have that in common.
Makes perfect sense, man. If my brick and mortar store, I get nervous at my brick and mortar store when we have our anniversary sale and we do $20,000 in a day. I get nervous about that because that's out of the ordinary for my brick and mortar store. My brick and mortar store does like $1,000 a day. But for our anniversary sale, we have crazy sales. We do stupid stuff. We blow stuff out, crazy amount of money. We advertise it for 2 weeks. There's a line of over 100 people. And on my anniversary sales, I know that is an unusual increase of credit card sales. Could Square call me up and say, "Hey, what's going on?" Absolutely. Could Square say, "Hey, we don't like this," and they can say, "We don't want you um, running this amount of credit card through the system anymore, so do not use Square anymore." Absolutely, absolutely. And because any unusual activity, we have to remember as well, there's computers looking at this, there's algorithms looking at this. It gets flagged, and maybe a computerized email suspends your store and a person manually looks at it. Like, a lot of this is done with AI. A lot of this is done on algorithms and computers. So any sort of I don't even know how to say it, differation, however, any sort of difference in what we are doing is going to automatically raise that computerized red flag. It's our job not to draw that attention to our stores. How do we not draw that attention? Keep doing the same thing that you're doing. Keep being consistent. Keep listing the same amount of items. Keep shipping out the same amount of time. Keep, responding to your questions immediately, responding to your offers immediately. Keep making quality listings. Keep doing all the same things that you're doing on a clockwork schedule that is predictable, that is reliable, And that is very safe. When you do things unpredictable, unreliably, that's dangerous to anything. If you see an unpredictable person at the gas station, your guard is up. If you see a guy cussing and shadow boxing, your guard is up. That's an unpredictable situation. So anything that's unpredictable is going to be scary. Don't be unpredictable, guys. Be predictable. Predictable is boring. I'm boring.
I also want to point out the account health. So maybe not related, but I was top rated seller. I had a 1% item not received, which I consider high. I don't know if it's unusually high. I didn't, the one thing I was going to change if I did not get suspended was I was going to switch off of the global shipping program, because most of those items were international things that I probably did not properly set up. So they took forever to arrive at the customer. So in retrospect, as far as account health goes, adding in the global shipping program, even though you can save the customer a couple of bucks shipping yourself, I really think having items in limbo gets you investigated. If all of your items are arriving quickly with no issues, then there's no red flags. But if you ship slowly, if everything was if you had all medium mail, you could have thousands of packages in the queue, and I feel like that is scary.
Yeah,
And they
absolutely.
have to,
Absolutely. All of those parameters and metrics are there for a reason.
yeah.
Your item not as described in your seller metrics page is there for a reason. They also have another tab for items not received. That's there for a reason. Your return rate is there for a reason. All of the metrics that they have, cases closed without seller resolution, tracking uploaded on time, items shipped on time, all of that stuff is there for a reason. All that stuff is being measured as well. So if you have any sort of uptick in any unusual activity, or you're not running your business properly, eBay has every incentive to investigate you and to look at you and perhaps restrict your account, which is what they do. Restricting your account and bringing you to below standard is like a soft ban. Like, they're ready to ban you, but like, they're giving you another shot.
That's
so
right.
if you have a bunch of cases closed without seller resolution, you are below standard. That's a soft ban. eBay starts hiding your items. It says so black and white in the documentation. You have a decreased visibility, and they're giving you an opportunity to get your stuff together so you can be back in the good graces of eBay and be above standard and eventually top rated and eventually top rated plus. So like, we have to be consistent, hang out, chill. And by being consistent, and I made this example last night on my call. I have been listing 250 items for 3 years now. 3 years. I have done nothing different, nothing at all. My store grew from about 30,000 items to 45,000 items. How in the world does my store grow from 30,000 items to 45,000 items by doing the same exact thing every single day? I didn't increase my listings to grow my store. I just maintain the same thing that I do every single day. So when you list 250, and in the beginning with a smaller store, let's say I sold 150, my store is net 100 items every single day. Eventually, I'm going to sell 175. Eventually, I'm going to sell 200 per day. When I'm listing 250 and selling 200 per day, my store is net 50 items. So just by doing the same thing, you will increase your store size and increase your business, because it's very simple to understand. You can go to the traffic tab. They show you your click-through rate and they show you your conversion rate. If the items that you are listing in your store are the same like items that you have listed previously, your click-through and conversion will be the same. So if your click-through and conversion, let's just say for round numbers, is 2%, 2% on a 1,000 item store equals X amount of sales. 2% on a 10,000 item store equals X amount of sales times 10. 2% on a 20,000 item store is still 2% on a 20,000 item store. So all you have to do is just maintain what you are doing every single day. And just by the mathematics of click through and conversion, your business will increase. You will make more money. I did not increase my listing goal any. And in the last 3 years, I have grown my store to 30,000 to 45,000 items. I've done the same thing. Now my store is at a level where I sell 250 to 300 items every day. Why? Because the same math, my click through and conversion remain the same because I upload the same type of items every single day. I didn't have to do anything differently. Nothing. Just maintain doing the same thing and your store will grow exponentially. Your income will grow and your sales will grow. And if you go outside of the metrics, that's when you have trouble.
That's exactly right. There's like a governor on everybody's store. When you go beyond that, lots of people review. So we always talk about growing safely on this channel, but we need to just, to be honest, my channel is not for teaching new things at this point, and it hasn't been for a long time. It's just been a reminder of the right things to do. You can't learn anything new really from us because our episodes are all the same. We're just reminding you guys to stay within your reach and make sure that your reach is easy. So, I'm extremely impatient. I would say that's what caused all of this for the most part. Now I'm not so much in a hurry, but that's because you've rubbed off on me. It's not because of anything else. You being patient. I don't know. Everyone's in a hurry. Everybody wants it now.
Absolutely. And, at the end of the day, be safe as possible, assess your risks. But really what happened can honestly happen to everybody. And unless you have bona fide paperwork from a legit wholesaler or directly from the manufacturer, you could also experience the same issues. So, try to run the safest business as you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And hopefully after that, you've diversified into different investments where, you'll be better off after that. So, I've been at this 14 years. eBay's never reached out, never given me any sort of policy violation. I've never worried them. But tomorrow's a new day. And every single day is a new day. And if you're not prepared for the new day, if you take your account for granted and you are not worried about your account, then that is a mistake. You have to be worried about your account every single day. You cannot take it for granted. This is a golden opportunity. We talk about this a lot of times. And I hope everybody understands the opportunity that they have of being able to sell on eBay, because it is such a beautiful time to be alive where you can find something that's underpriced, find the arbitrage and make a profit and sell it on the computer. We should not take this for granted. I certainly don't. I've said it 100 times. Like, I have eBay to thank for everything that I have. I've used eBay the proper way, the right way to be profitable, invest and start other businesses, change my life, change my family's life. I am forever thankful for the opportunity. Can that opportunity be gone tomorrow for everyone, for me, for everyone listening? Absolutely can. So you have to be worried. And I don't say worried so everyone gets scared. I say worried so you do the right thing. I'm worried every single day. That's what keeps me doing the right thing, is that I don't take it for granted.
Somebody said in the chat that eBay's algorithm picked up something on my account and most likely a person reviews it and the person's next course of action is going to be asking you for invoices to verify why did that happen. So the first email I got was a request for information. So I submitted what information I had, and they did not accept that information, and then I was suspended. That's what happened. They didn't suspend me right away. They requested information. So that was not good enough. So most suspensions, as we see, I've learned about on my channel, are automated because normal human behavior doesn't grow 300% for no reason. So when that happens, it triggers something. Their natural recourse is it literally could just be a chart. This happens, send them, ask for invoices. Don't give invoices, instant ban. It's not complicated for them. They have 1 billion listings to look through and millions of sellers.
Yeah. Maybe they just haven't got to yours yet.
Yeah, maybe this is just a simple chart. You need to train people to, it's just, there's lots of indications that the behavior is not normal.
Yeah. And I still have full faith in eBay. I still have full trust in eBay. I still have full faith and trust and love the eBay platform. And I'm not worried about it. I think that if you do it the proper way, you have nothing to worry about. Yep. If you're doing a bunch of crazy stuff, then absolutely you do have something to worry about. And that goes for Amazon, that goes for Shopify, that goes for every single platform that you can mention or think of, is that if you are doing things in an improper way and you are assessed a risk, then eBay or that platform is going to do what they have to do. So if you are doing it the right way, I think that you should rest easy at night, and there's nothing for anybody to worry about. I'm going to still do business as usual. My business is doing 250 items a day, shipping out 300, and that's what I do. That's what I do. And we are on other platforms. There are rules in place for a reason. And until you start your own platform, whatever platform you wish to start, you have to abide by the rules. And everyone has to abide by them. It doesn't matter who you are. And I'm very happy abiding by all the rules, doing eBay the right way, never cheating, getting to the top. And I have a lot of pride in that. But it took a long time, a lot of work, 20-hour days for a very long time. But that's the only way you get to a certain point, doing it the right way. And I plead with everyone, take it easy, do it the right way. Please, so, everybody.
One more thought here. This is the last I'll talk about this part of it. In when I'm filing my taxes, there's a line for cost of goods sold, and that cost of goods sold matches my bank account payments to people. So, this is not a tax call, but that is adequate to show cost of goods. That is not adequate for the validity of an item or the provenance of an item. That does not let people know where it comes from.
Absolutely.
It's different. Showing that you bought something at the flea market with $10. You have a handwritten receipt that says $10. You have an ATM withdrawal slip of $10. Mm-hmm. That's adequate. I'm not a CPA, but that's a record for your taxes, showing money going out of your bank account. Yeah. That does not prove whatever you purchased is real.
That's different.
That's separate.
That's different. So like it doesn't even have to prove that it's real. It just proves it proves you bought the item, but it doesn't prove what item you bought. That's the problem. So like you have proof you bought a lot of stuff, but you have no proof what the stuff is that you bought.
Exactly.
That is the problem.
That's exactly what it is.
Has nothing to do with real or fake.
Yeah.
You bought a lot of stuff. There's proof.
Yep.
But there is no proof of what you bought. And it's the same for everybody. Your garage sale, when you write down, spend $100 at Joe's house at 6422. No one knows if you bought bananas, tiddlywinks, or shoes. Nobody knows. Even if you wrote down line by line in your handwriting, nobody knows. unless it's directly from a manufacturer and people go, well, you could just make an invoice. An invoice requires a phone number. You don't think eBay is smart enough to dial the phone number and say, have you done business with this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want any hope of ever being unrestricted, unbanned, or ever coming back, if eBay picks up the phone and calls a wholesaler and they say, I don't know who that guy is, how far does that take you? There's proof the items were bought. That's not what eBay is looking for. eBay is looking for what you bought. And your thrift store receipts, there is no proof of what you bought. Unless you're selling orange tag, blue tag, green tag, yellow tag was 25% off, unless that's what you're selling, no one knows that blue tag was a polo shirt, that orange was a Patagonia, that yellow was a North Face. There is no paper trail line by line of exactly what you bought. Yeah, we know you bought items. What exactly did you buy? Unless you have line by line invoices, there is no proof of what you bought.
Yeah, this is cut and dry. So I have to point out, flip the world's comment, to call a spade a spade. This is literally legit. So like there's nothing unusual about this situation. Um that's why I'm taking full responsibility. So I'm not going to bash eBay. eBay lets millions of people make a buck.
Absolutely.
And I understand there's some legal people in the chat and I appreciate your advice. But at this point, eBay has not exposed themselves at all because they have not given me the reason. They won't give me the reason because then that would be reason for an NDA, because if I said the reason I got suspended, everybody that's listening right now would not do that. That's not what they do. I have never read a suspension email that says why.
No.
It doesn't say why. It will not point you in the right direction because then you could just circumvent it the next time.
And that's fine. That's their right. It's their platform.
Yep, that's right.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. VR Nuggets is saying your credit cards and your bank statements track the paper trail. Absolutely.
Yeah, the monetary paper trail.
The
But
monetary paper trail.
yeah,
Yep.
but what did you buy? Some Honda Prius, or like what did you buy? Some Toyota Prius? No one
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
No one knows. And that's dangerous at a high level.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, guys, this you can learn from this teachable moment. I think it would be a disservice to everybody in the group if I give up. I know a lot of people wonder in the back of their minds what would happen if you do get suspended on eBay. And this one was my fault. So yeah, I'm not. I have nothing retaliation oriented. I don't have any. I don't. That doesn't exist because they didn't do anything. And they did tell me it came from high up. So obviously something happened that they can't do it, because I don't think they would suspend me that so easily. So
Yeah. And I still have the utmost trust in the platform.
me too.
And I still think that if you're doing things the right way, you're fine. Don't raise any flags, don't speed, don't do any risky behavior, and you're fine. I think that there's no problem at all running and scaling a safe, successful business on eBay. There's no problem. And I think that if you're safe, you're consistent, you have a strong foundation, you keep your metrics intact, that's all eBay wants to see from you. When those things go out of line, eBay is going to have a problem. And eBay is not the problem here. Amazon does the same thing, and Amazon has a much more aggressive way that they handle situations like this. So I think that, there's nothing to worry about as long as you are doing things slowly, taking your time, providing a great experience to the customer, providing a great experience to the platform. And I think that everyone should continue on business as usual. And, just think twice whenever you're going to do something and ask yourself, is this risky to my account? Will this put my business in jeopardy? And if you even have to think about it, just toss that item to the side and do not list it. If you even have to think about it, toss it to the side, because it would really suck to get a zero for an item that you had to think about and second guess whether you should list it or not. If you even have to think about it, toss it to the side. There's plenty of other items that are safe to sell. So just do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Be slow. Treat your customers right. Continue to put up quality listings, quality price. Make sure your item specifics are good, your description is good. Back it up with a money back guarantee, free returns. I opt for 60-day free returns, the most generous return policy on eBay. Because if the eBay customer is not happy, that affects all of us. We all have an obligation to make our customers happy. So if they had a 1 billion year free return policy, I would offer that, because I have confidence in my product and confidence in the things that I sell and confidence in the way we are doing it. So I hope everyone, Chris's channel is built on learning. Unfortunately, this is the ultimate learning lesson here. Everyone be safe, be cool, take your time, do things the right way, do things slow. And everyone should be thankful every single day for the opportunity to be able to sell on any given platform. And you should be grateful, and you should handle yourself in a proper professional manner.
So Jax is saying, any further thoughts in the future of the resource podcast? Will my heart still be in it? I mean, absolutely. Tech and I talked about it. That's why we're releasing this podcast for the first time ever on YouTube in full length, because we want everybody to be able to answer questions, because this is the most severe penalty, right? This is being banned from the platform, which there is permanently. This is the highest penalty. So getting to this point where you just think about the ramifications of your actions. I'm in it more than ever, because my channel is built on resellers. I'd say 99% of the people who watch this channel have sold something, want to sell something, or are selling things. So I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm just on different platforms. So it's different. Planning on doing things forever is how I've been set up. I didn't, this is a short-term thing, and short-term things are by definition more risky. 60-day free returns is also my motto in the way that I did business. And it just goes to show, they can be investigating you for a long time. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not going to give up now, but it's got to be on a different platform for me.
Yep, absolutely, man. I think so. In closing, like you said, we have to set ourselves up to do things forever. And, short-term things can sometimes have long-term consequences. So, I have full confidence in the platform and doing things the correct way. And, I hope everyone just runs their business safe, and everyone, be safe and be great.
I want to summarize a few more points, since there's a lot of people listening right now. I'm not sure what time you came in. The NDA I signed from eBay was not regarding the suspension. They actually told me I could say whatever I want about the suspension. They told the NDA I signed was for reduced eBay fees on sneakers. Tech did not sign off on this behavior. If I had even brought it up, he would have shut it down.
Absolutely.
The fees are the profit margin is so low on these. It only worked during the zero fee promotion time period. So it's also a good lesson to not chase after temporary glitches in the system, which is kind of like what this was, because it was a move by eBay to temporarily move people back to eBay to sell sneakers. That's what it was. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to capitalize on this short-term thing. But that's not something you base a business off of. You can't base a business off of a temporary promotion. That's what I did. I got tempted. by the hot girl, as you say, and I got burned. So that's not what you do, because that's not what we preach. And also want to point out that it happened after the fact. So just because you sold Chanel at 50% off doesn't mean it's not going to bite you in the ass down the road. Also, last thought. The meeting I had with eBay was a courtesy. It wasn't like a long conversation. They just told me in person the same thing as the suspension email. Okay, the suspension email comes from the top two, comes from the Vero or the managed payments team or whatever team on eBay suspends you. They don't take that lightly. I just got to hear it in person. So Jerry's right. I got greedy. I got lazy. I took a shortcut. That's the whole point of this podcast. That's why it's called Safety Scales, Risky Fails, because um, you guys do not need to be in a hurry. Looking at my growth, it's so ridiculous, and there's already without the sneakers. So you don't need to do anything. It's like such a contrast with a $24 ASP and a $1,000 ASP for shoes. So um, it is what it is. Appreciate you guys following us, and we wanted to put this podcast out in full length for everybody. And we appreciate everyone. We've been doing this for a year and a half. This is our like 82nd episode, and we appreciate everyone making this probably the most listened to reseller podcast. So
Unfortunately, yeah.
yeah, we are definitely the most listened to podcast on the subject. So we appreciate you guys. Want to bring light to the situation, and just remember, when you guys are deciding whether or not you want to leave it on the shelf, just think of me and leave it on the shelf.